Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this HP laptop model 14-DQ1043CL. Alright, so this model has a broken screen, so I'm going to take it apart and show you how to get to the screen. They have a screen protector on there, but I think they probably had the back hit on it. Somebody must have taken this apart before because several screws are missing. But let me show you how to get this open anyways. So first thing you're going to want to do is peel out these rubber feet, okay? So if you're wondering, the one on the back is thicker to raise the back a little higher. When the customer brought it to me, they were flipped around. So yeah, keep that in mind. All right, you got 3 screws under here. I believe they are JS1 or PH1 screws. But if that doesn't fit, use a PH0 or JS0. But check the PH1 or JS1 first. All right, you got also these 2 screws here. You got 2 screws down here, and then there's one hidden screw underneath this rubber foot, so we're going to remove that as well. This rubber foot has a more solid plastic adhesive strip on it, so when you peel, if you peel the rubber piece out and there's still a rubber or a plastic layer on top, a clear plastic layer, make sure you remove that. All right, so I guess they couldn't remove this one screw because they left that plastic layer on top when I first saw it, and then the screw was just sticking up, it wasn't even out. Okay, next thing we're going to do, we're going to take the bottom cover off. So what I do is I use my fingernails in between the palm rest gap and the bottom cover, as you can see right here. Okay, so I'll get my fingernails in there, and then I'll push with my thumbs on the back as I pull with my fingernails, just like this. Okay, you can hear the clips popping. All right, just like that, and we'll work our way around. Okay, and continue doing the same thing. All right, if you don't have fingernails, you can use plastic pry tools, whatever works for you, but I find fingernails work a lot better, and that's why I leave my fingernails a bit long. Okay, all right, so we're going to go around and do the same thing on this edge. Okay, these clips are a little bit stuck. There we go. Okay, go around. When you get to the back here, what you do is you just grab the side here, the part that you lifted up, and then you kind of just wiggle it like this, and there we go. Okay, so we got the bottom cover off. I'll set that aside. Here you can see there's 2 slots for RAM, but only one is being used. Okay, we're gonna get a thumbnail here, so I'm gonna just put this like that. There we go. Okay, for the RAM and the SSD, you don't need to remove the battery, but you can if you want to be extra safe. This is a M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD. Same as every other SSD, there's one screw, it pops up slightly at an angle, and then you can pull it out. I'm not going to be taking everything out, we'll just take the RAM out because I don't want to risk causing any additional damage with the slight risk. Okay, so there's a sticker on top, but it's PC4. Okay, PC4 3200AA. Hopefully you can see that there, PC4 3200AA. So you can use any PC4 3200AA RAM. Sometimes they'll support different speeds as well, but I don't really experiment with them because I want to make sure that it works the moment I get the parts. Customers don't usually want to wait too long for the repairs. Okay, so anyways, we're going to go ahead and remove the screws for the battery. There's 4 screws, 2 in the middle here, and then 2 in the bottom corners down there. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove those. You want to keep all the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that, I put them flat side down like that on my desk in the pattern I remove them. So we have those 2 in the middle like that, and then 2 further out at the bottom, and that's how I put them on my desk. Okay, if any screws are additional, make sure to check yours because I don't know, this computer's been opened before, so I don't know if yours will be different. All right, to remove the battery, you can lift from anywhere up here or over here as long as it's on this side where the connector is, and then we can pop this up. And here you can see the battery model is HT03XL, or you can even use the HP spare part number here, which is a lot longer, L11119-855. Okay, usually I don't use that, I'll use the HT03XL model. All right, so there we go. We got the battery disconnected. If you want to be extra safe, which we're going to have to be because we're going to be disconnecting the screen, we're going to carefully open up the laptop and then press and hold the power button for 15 seconds to drain any residual power. All right, this makes it a lot safer to work on the computer. And yeah, if you're doing anything with the screen, make sure that you do this, all right? It's very important. Okay, we'll hold it a few more seconds just to be safe, and then let's go ahead and close it up. All right, so SSD, you got the keyboard backlight connector here, keyboard connector. These have little flip latches here that you can flip up, and then once you flip it up, you can pull the cable out, but I'm going to leave it there. Wireless card is here. We are going to disconnect the antennas. You got the fan here, which looks like you can remove it without removing the heatsink. There's 3 screws, okay, on it right there. Okay, then we're going to remove this little board here, which is the SD card slot and the LED indicator lights. What else? Trackpad cable is going underneath the SSD here. And then they have a little cable here, which I'm assuming is for a 2.5-inch SATA hard drive, but there's nothing in here. I'm not 100% sure that's what it's for, but I'm assuming that's what it is because there's nothing here and there's that. Okay, let's go ahead and take the screen out. This is a very difficult process. Okay, but I'll show you guys. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna flip this over here. I hang this off the edge of my desk like this. Okay, then there's 2 screws on this side and 2 screws on this side. We are also going to take this out, so let's take that out first. There's this flip latch, we're gonna flip it up, and then we can go ahead and pull this cable out. Okay, 2 screws holding this board into place. Let's go ahead and remove those 2 screws, and again, this is for the SD card reader and the indicator lights, okay, or whatever you call those, all right, status lights. Okay, we'll pull that out. We'll set that aside. All right, next thing we have to remove the wireless antennas here. So wireless antennas, to remove them, let me actually zoom in a bit here. Okay, you pull up from the tail. Usually I'll use 2 fingers to do this at the tail, and then just pop it straight up, just like that. They are labeled 1 and 2, so you know which one goes to which. On the card, it also has a 1 and 2. All right, so to remove the antennas, there's this little tape here holding it to the fan, so peel that up. And then to get this out, you're gonna have to do one at a time to get it underneath there. So kind of like push the wires down, and then you can kind of slide it around over the fan and under, okay? Can be a little bit tricky. You can try and use like some tools or something to do this, but just like that, okay? And we're gonna zoom out now and get the rest of it out. So it should be pretty straightforward. Just guide the wires out of these little holders, plastic holders. Okay, just like that, wiggle it out, and then we're gonna have to remove this later to get that completely out. We're gonna have to do the same thing over here. We got the LCD LVDS connector. We'll flip this latch up, and then we also have to remove the DC jack connector to get it out of the way. So you can push it inwards to go around this clip here, and then you can kind of lift it up. So we're gonna grab the wings of the connector and just kind of wiggle it to pop it out, just like that. And there we go, we got the DC jack connector out of the way. If you want to remove this completely, we will have to remove the screen to do that, but let's go ahead and remove this. This cable you do have to lift up slightly, and then you can pull it back. There we go. 2 screws here, let's go ahead and get these 2 out. Okay, this one and this one. Again, keep all the screws in order. Got those 2, then you got 2 screws over here. We're gonna remove those as well. Okay, that one and this one. And once you got those screws out, we can actually lift the whole screen assembly out, just like this. All right, if you want to take out the DC jack or charge port, you lift from this side because this side has a clip, so you kind of pull it up from here. You can also use the cable to help, and then you can kind of twist it up this way, and there we go, it comes out like that. I'm just going to put it back. So you put this side in first, and then you kind of just push it down to get it into place. All right, so we'll leave that there. I'm going to move this out of the way, and let's go ahead and take a look at the screen. The screen is pretty difficult to remove, and it's actually risky. If your screen is working okay, you don't want to take this out because there's a very good chance you're going to break it. This screen is broken. I actually looked up the cost of the screen, pretty expensive. The customer decided not to get it repaired. So before you do this, hopefully you're checking the price of the screen. Anyways, to get this bezel off, there's some strong adhesive going all the way around, but you're basically going to lift up from the middle here and then kind of like twist it. I push with my thumb and push it inwards like this. Okay, and we're just going to do this all the way around. I took this out once already, so it's going to be a little bit easier. So take your time, go slow if it's not coming out. All right, it's going to take a while. If this video helps you guys out, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. And if it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. All right, so there we go. We're going to pull these all out and flip this over. and the bottom half, this adhesive holds really strong, and this piece is really difficult to get off. It just pops out with clips as well. Once you get this whole like piece out first, it will actually pop this thing out as well. Okay, so again, I've already pre-opened this, so that's why it's kind of coming out easier. But here you can see this piece is staying kind of stuck to this, but it does separate if you want. Okay, so we're gonna lift this out like that. But yeah, this piece is just held in with some clips. So when I first took it out, actually this whitish gray silver part came out separately from the screen. Okay, so if it does, that's okay. Just pull the clips out. Okay, I'm gonna remove some of the adhesive that rolled up into a ball. But yeah, this piece does separate from here, as you can see. Okay, I can separate it, but for now I'm just gonna leave it snapped in there because we don't need to take that out. Okay, we're gonna set this aside. And to remove the screen, it's one of those pain in the butt like stretch adhesive things down here. Okay, I don't know why, but companies don't want to use screws anymore. I guess it's thinner. Anyways, you're gonna have to use like some tweezers or a needle or something to get this up. Once you get a little piece of it up, you can go ahead and grab this and you can stretch this. So to remove these adhesives, you basically pull it straight back. So while you're stretching it, you use your other hand, grab it again. You can let go of the other one and then continue stretching. So these adhesives come out by stretching. That's how they release. So you just keep doing that, stretching it, grabbing closer up, and then continuing to stretch. Okay. And I've already taken this out once, so I don't know if the adhesive is going to keep holding after removing it twice, but we'll find out. Okay. There we go, and now the adhesive is out. So the adhesive is pretty long. After stretching it to remove it, you will probably have to trim off a little bit to make it fit again, just because after you stretch it, of course, it's going to stretch out and stay longer. So we're going to set this adhesive aside. Okay, and then there's one on the other side here as well. So same thing, just grab that, grab a bit of it, lift it up. Uh-oh, I think I'm getting some messages here. Okay, lift that up, and then we're gonna go ahead and peel this back. So same thing, you want to pull it straight back, so I get it underneath the hinge to do that. Okay, if you pull it upwards, it's not going to come out. You have to pull it parallel with the screen. Okay, so keep it as flat as possible, and that will make it easier to get out. Okay, so we're just going to continue pulling this adhesive. Okay, just like this. Just like that. Okay, there we go. And now that we got that out, we can actually flip the screen forward, just like this. Okay, and then you have the cable. I'm not going to take it out because you have to peel out a whole bunch of tape. But yeah, it's just like every other screen. You peel that out and then you can pull the cable out. If you're wondering, there's the screen model number down there. Hopefully you can read that. N140 HCA-EBC revision C1, or HP part number L44012-J91. Okay, so those are the model numbers there. And now to put this back, somewhat of a pain because you do have to kind of hold the screen up out of the way. Usually I'll do this in my lap so I can have my stomach holding up the screen. But let's go ahead and try to do it this way, okay? And because the thing is stretched out, what I'll do is you can actually, if you want to keep it without cutting it, you can put the adhesive there. And then what you do is you kind of curve it over a little bit like this, and then continue pushing it down as you curve it again. And then as you keep pushing it down, curve it again, and keep doing that. All right, and just like that. And I think now that I did it twice, it's way too long, so I might have to actually just trim it off. Okay, but as you can see, like, you can kind of curve it around like that, or I guess I can even curve it further out, but kind of don't want to curve it that much. Okay, so basically you can do that to have the adhesive go everywhere, and it should be okay. Now we're going to do that with the second one here, you just want to make sure you have a place to pull on it. Okay, so same thing, I'm gonna go like that, curve it around like this, and curve it like this. Okay, try not to stretch it as you curve it, because then it'll be longer and longer. But yeah, okay. Again, you could always just trim it. You don't need to keep all of it, but I'm just going to keep all the adhesive just because I can. Okay, so there we go. And then the difficult part is you want to make sure the top corner edges of the screen go in first without touching the adhesive. So make sure you're holding up the entire screen, and then get that corner in, get the other corner in, good. And then slowly lower it down, and you can press it into place. Make sure these wires are tucked in properly, because if they're sticking up, then it will prevent you from putting the bezel down completely. Give me a second, getting some messages here. I'm going to pause and I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. So let's go ahead and put the bezel back on. The bezel is relatively simple to get back on. You do want to make sure this curves over and goes on top. Alright, so make sure to get the bottom corners underneath as well, just like that. Okay, and then we'll push these on. Make sure the wires are coming out of the right sides. Alright, there we go. And then what we'll do is we'll snap this in first. So I like to do like the outer edge, just press on that, kind of pushing it downwards, inwards as well. So basically it can go in with the clips. Okay, so just like this. And then we're going to do the same thing going down the sides. Okay. Can double check, make sure everything's flat there. Then we're going to go over here, click this down, continue going around, click these down. Okay, and everything looks good. Make sure everything is clicked into place. All right, I don't know if there's a bad clip or something. Oh, actually no. Okay, it did hold well. Okay, oh, this one's a little bit weird, but yeah. Alright, so let's go ahead and get the keyboard assembly base and everything back in order. So we're going to take this, same thing again, hanging it somewhat off the desk. Make sure you get the wires lined up with the little slots here and here, okay, for the antennas and the LCD LVDS cable. So you have to line that up right first. Okay, then you can go ahead and put the hinge in place. For this side, it's a little bit tricky. This cable has to go in first, okay, so make sure you lift this up and get this cable in, okay, and then flip that latch down and make sure it doesn't get smashed there. Then you can go ahead and line this up, okay, get these screws back in. Alright, get these in. Good. And then we're going to get this cable in, so line this up, right, and then pinch the two in. And then after that, you tuck this back underneath that little piece there. Good. Now we're going to close the screen, so I'm going to hold onto the hinges here, and then while I'm doing that, I'm using my thumbs to help twist and push the hinges down. If you don't do that, you could damage the hinges, so just be careful with that. Okay. Okay. Now, next thing we're going to do, we're going to guide this through here. All right, this part's going to be, hopefully you can figure it out, but hopefully they're zoomed enough. We're going to tuck these wires here like that. Then we're going to route them around here, okay? It's a little bit tough to get this back underneath there. You might have to use a screwdriver or something. There you go, to push that under. Then we're going to go over here, same thing, tuck this around, tuck that under, get that in there, back underneath there, back over there. And then these ones you have to do one wire at a time to tuck it under. There we go. Okay, we got all of that, and let's go ahead and plug in again. They're labeled 1 and 2, so make sure you plug in number 1 to number 1 and number 2 to number 2. Okay. lined up. Click that in. All right. This thing is not too important to get wrapped back over. I think the tape stuck on itself. Yeah, it wrapped on itself, so I gotta unravel it. It's not too important. If you don't want, you don't have to really stick it on there, but there we go. We unravel this, line the wires up right outside the fan, and then stick that down. Okay, so that way it's not overlapping on top. And there we go. Then we're gonna get this little board that we pulled out as well, this one. Okay, make sure to get it lined up right. This screw with that raised plastic thing, line that up, and then line up this one. Then we'll get the 2 screws and put those in. Go. All right, and then we're gonna get this and plug it in. And then flip that latch down. All right, there we go. Now we just get the bottom cover back on. Oh, don't forget the battery, of course. So we got the battery. Let's flip this back over. We'll get the battery back in. I don't know if you guys can see the whole thing. Hopefully you can. Okay, so there we go. Line that up and then drop that down. Make sure you push that down. If you want, you can squeeze that together to make sure the battery's in place. And then we'll just get the battery screws back in. Just like this. All right, and then we'll get this screw down here in. And this screw as well. And since we removed the battery, this battery also acts as the CMOS BIOS RTC real-time clock battery. It is going to take a while to start back up. It's going to tell you that the BIOS was reset. Since we have a broken screen on this one, we're not really going to be able to see that. We're just going to see broken screen lines, so I'm not going to power it up to show that. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and get this all lined back up. Okay, click it all back down. Just make sure everything is clicked into place. Not bad. All right, and then get all the screws back in. Again, the customer brought this with a whole bunch of screws missing, so yeah, I don't know what screws they were using before, and I don't want to put random screws in there. So let's go ahead and get this back on. So usually what I do is I line up one outer edge here, and then I'll go to the other side and line up that outer edge, because usually this thing stretches. And then after that, you kind of work your way slowly towards the middle, making sure to kind of push any parts that are kind of rounded up down. Okay, so there we go. It's not going to go back perfect, especially with what the other person did. And then we'll get the last one here. But that's pretty much it. Hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, again, please make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Let's drop this. Bye.